Both of you know Bob Mueller. Michael, how do you know him and your thoughts?
Well, so I worked for Bob in the United States Department of Justice. Bob was the Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, the highest ranking officer in the Justice Department for criminal matters, and I was his special counsel for money laundering matters for a little over a year. We worked together previous to that in the Justice Department as well.
Tough? Is he a tough worker?
Bob Mueller is a tough boss. You know, the only easy day with Bob Mueller was yesterday, and yesterday was pretty tough. He is driven. I think he has great trust of Congress and of the American public because of the ground that he had crossed. So I think it's a great selection. Bob Mueller knows how to drive investigations forward with no nonsense, getting the job done.
All right, we always love them, it seems like, day one. I think even James Comey probably had love from both sides of the aisle. I mean, this is just day one. I mean, can Bob Mueller withstand sort of what's going on in the city, Michael?
I think so. I mean, he's withstood it for a long time. He's been in public life for a very long time.
But this is a time we had a common enemy. After 9/11, everybody was on the same side. This is a very different environment, I think.
He's a thick-skinned, tough guy. He takes his job seriously. He takes the administration of justice seriously. I don't believe that he's going to be derailed by the political shenanigans that may be on the sidelines trying to pressure him one way or the other. I think Bob is a terrific choice for this, and I don't think he's going to be deterred in any way from the mission that he's being given by the Deputy Attorney General.
Ron, a lot of the FBI agents currently at the department, did they work with Mueller, or has he been gone long enough?
Absolutely no. Bob Mueller's only been gone the length of time that Jim Comey's been there. So he is well known in the building, you know, very highly respected in the building, very well regarded. But I think that, to your last point, the struggle that we will all have is, you know, Bob Mueller is a tight-lipped guy. And as this develops, you know, counterintelligence pieces of it, perhaps white-collar pieces of it, we're not going to hear a lot out of Bob Mueller for a period of time and potentially to its conclusion, and that's going to frustrate us.
Does Bob Mueller have any relationship, if either of you know, with James Comey?
I'm sure they know one another. Both were United States attorneys. Both were in the Bureau. They essentially overlapped successively in that job, so I'm sure they have good relationships.
Actually, now, I think it was during the Bush administration, Bob Mueller was threatened to resign over a warrantless wiretapping, and I think that at the time
they were in it together.
They were in it together. Both of them were in it together.
That's
so
right.
They're close, so they should be close.
That's right. It was the Ashcroft bedside renew the metadata searching, wireless searching, and Comey has one story and Mueller has one story, and they confer, and they're at the hospital. So yeah, they know each other, and they know each other in a similar situation to this, in a sense.
And in fact, I think Peter Baker of the New York Times wrote that story or broke that news. He joins us. Peter, tell me about the Bob Mueller-James Comey relationship.
Yeah, they are, in fact, obviously close. They did serve together in the Bush administration, as you guys were just saying, and they had this formative experience in standing up to a president, standing up to a vice president. They both threatened to resign, and it was when Bob Mueller made clear that he would resign with James Comey, who was then the Deputy Attorney General, over this surveillance program, that President Bush realized how serious it was. President Bush said he realized that he had another Saturday Night Massacre on his hands, and he wanted to avoid exactly that. He backed off in order to you know, address their concerns. So it was Bob Mueller who ordered the FBI agents at the hospital when Jim Comey was rushing to get there, but to see Ashcroft, the Attorney General, before the president's emissaries got there. It was Bob Mueller who ordered the FBI agents, don't let Jim Comey be thrown out of that room no matter what happens. They were definitely allies and friends in this situation. So it's a very interesting choice in that regard. These are not people with a disinterested relationship.
So when Bob Mueller was named FBI director, it was 98-0 unanimous. So obviously, at least the Capitol Hill at that time really liked him on both sides of the aisle. This is a choice from Rosenstein, who is the deputy director of the Department of Justice. This doesn't sound like this isn't the White House choice. And what do you think of the White House is thinking about this tonight, knowing that Comey and Mueller have worked together before and quite closely and aligned on a very, very political story that was huge back a number of years ago?
Well, that's exactly right. I can't imagine the White House is very happy about this. This can't be the choice that they would have preferred. Bob Mueller does have bipartisan credentials, as you point out. He was appointed by President Bush. He started just after 9/11, within days of 9/11, if I remember correctly, and he reorganized the FBI to make it a terrorism fighting organization. But he was an institutionalist, and he was well liked among Democrats as well. So President Obama asked him to stay on 3 years beyond his 10-year term. He's the only FBI director since they put that 10-year term in to go beyond that term, and that was approved by Congress of both parties. So he does have a good reputation in that regard, and he has comes at this from an institutionalist point of view, but somebody with deep ties to the FBI. So it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.